Texture, texture, texture. That's what we're going to be talking about. And this is going to be a part 2 of the texture videos. So if you haven't watched the other one, you can watch it after this one, just because it doesn't matter which one you watch first. Let's just get started. Hello and welcome to Design or Design. My name is Maria, and what I do on YouTube is basically take a bunch of runway shows and put them into nice little compartments by outfits or like by textures or by colors or anything like that. So if you are watching runways and you love watching runways, but by the end you're like, I have no idea what just happened. So many models just walk, but I didn't really gain anything. This is what I'm trying to change. I'm trying to accumulate all the things that are alike together so you can have a better understanding of what's trendy or how to wear certain things or just create inspiration for your everyday outfits. Today, as I mentioned, we're going to be talking about texture and how it was presented for Spring Summer 2024. In the first video, I was talking about furs, fuzziness, velvet, leather, denim, distressed trend, fringe, feathers, sheers, silky, and this time around, we're going to be talking about the chameleon fabric. We're going to be talking about the shiny, shimmery, metallics, lace, sweats, tweed, pleats, drapes, and other fabric manipulations, as well as beads, knits, and florals, I guess. Okay, a lot to talk about. So let's just get started with that chameleon trend. The new material that I've been seeing that some designers started to use, which is sending back me a few decades, and really difficult to see here, but you can see how, like, with the movement, the color kind of changes, or like in the gathers that's a little bit different. So this is what I'm talking about. It does really remind me of like Y2K trend, and we did see that material, like the new age space, a metallic thread in there that's creating this high intense color change. I have no idea what goes into this, but it is pretty exciting. It was not a lot of it, but yes. Next one would be shimmer, shine. We have rhinestones, we have other stones that are shiny, beadwork, we have glitter, we have sequins. We just have a lot on the runways. And of course, yes, a lot of this on more of a fancier gowns and dresses and such, maybe some blazers, but we also see it sometimes in more mundane items like t-shirts and such. But for now, we're looking at these beautiful floral creations from Balmain. I cannot even imagine that they had a bunch of their designs stolen right before the runway. Well, I guess they weren't those, because those would be impossible to recreate. Gucci, here we go. We have some bralettes in this in a very minimalistic, simple color. We also have just simple tops with these, and yeah, sparkle is not going away anytime soon. I quite like it, but there are a few items that are overworn now and people are just being tired of it. For instance, like the shimmery little bags or shimmery shoes. So now it's more of a concentration of actual wearable items such as dresses and etc. Some of them are being a little bit more extra, while others having a little bit less shimmer. Maybe they're just like a shimmery thread that is being contained in the item. When we're talking about these shiny materials, think about the volume it creates, visual volume, I mean. So if you're thinking about your body and you would like to use that to your advantage and maybe balance out your figure, then think about where you're placing it. Where is this going to go on your body, and put it on the most, I guess, on your favorites. No, I'm not gonna say favorite, because maybe you really love your peach-like bottom, but if you want to make your top a little bit bigger, then put it there. For instance, if on the other hand you are a reverse triangle, think about placing those shimmery skirts on the bottom of your outfit, so it's going to create volume there. Also, these shiny things like the sequins or like rhinestones are pretty texturized, so they're, although they're shiny, they're not smooth, if you know what I mean. So you can easily wear it if you have imperfections in your skin. They're not highlighted at all. We see some of these paired like with very casual outfits like ND squared here and a few shows that we've seen before. Of course, having sparkles on gowns, like there is nothing new to that, but it's really interesting when you see more of a streetwear item with sparkles like JW Anderson here. We have also Loewe more having these enormous floral arrangements covered in crystals that it doesn't really look like a top. It's more like a humongous work of art, maybe like jewelry. We also see sequins being variety of sizes. Like here we see it sheer as well, but being almost like a coin dollar. Is there dollar coins in US? I'm not sure. Or like toonies in Canada. When getting these items, think about your closet as well, because I've been in so many stores where they were trying to sell an item with maybe some rhinestone, maybe some detail like that, and they were getting other items just destroyed by, because people are like always looking at the hang and moving the hangers, and they're always getting caught onto something else that's been by it. For instance, if they are rhinestones on a silky surface, on satin surface, and they're hanging close together, right? Because the same items hang together and they can just create so much damage on each other. So think about your closet now. That can happen to you as well. So maybe have garment bags for those items so they're not damaging anything else in your closet. We also see in Blue Marine having like just a little shiny sparkle and these denimish items. This is much more wearable, and of course much more unwearable things as well. We can't discriminate with these, but yes, I love the shiny. I love anything that captures attention. Is it that obvious that I'm a Leo? Anyways, so let's move on into metallics. Yes, it's also a shimmery material. Sometimes it's like knit thread, or maybe it's actually painted on, like on leather or denim or anything like this. Maybe metallic threads like here in Louis Vuitton, or like here in Miu Miu, we have almost like a gold leaf situation here. Really cool. I really like it. Just depends on your preference, and as well it's either gold or silver. And think about your complexion. What works better with your complexion? Is it the warmer tones of gold, or is it the cooler ones of silver? And just go with that. Diesel also had these little tiny rhinestones that's shimmering. Very interesting contrast in between the almost distressed looks. We also see much larger kind of stones in Moschino, more suits in that metallic-y colors from Chloe, as well as a lot of it in Ralph Lauren. I'm not sure if I'm liking these gold things. Like, I don't know. Don't come for me. Dion Lee having more of a street style version. Blue Marine having some gold on here. We've seen this trend before. Maybe it's just going to be more. I don't know. We'll see. All right, next one up is a lace. Here in Alexander McQueen, we see this very thick lace, like just knitted lace, almost cable, like it's really big. We also see similar thing in Valentino. It's a really special way of creating it, so it's almost 3D lace. I love it. I have no idea what's the name for it, nor will I ever find it. But it is almost like cut lace, but having like additional texture to it. Balenciaga had one of those lacy tablecloths that your grandma has. Take it, from your grandma, make a dress out of it, make a bunch of money, or just pretend like you can afford Balenciaga. That's probably what I'm gonna do. Just get a vintage lace and go wild. We also see some of that in Dior. Looks like a lot like vintage lace. Maybe upcycle, again, a tablecloth, or maybe some curtains from your grandma's house. We see this in black as well. Dolce Gabbana had so much lace. As I mentioned in the previous video where we were talking about the sheer trend, there was so much sheer lace on Dolce Gabbana. And once again, this is really tying into the, I don't know, a wife of a mobster or a mistress of a mobster, having that kind of like Italian passionate woman in lingerie. Not sure how appropriate this is to be worn daily, but it is there. Yeah, it is. Rokh had these lacy items as a layering piece, really interesting. Ulla Johnson having the lace dressing up the nightgowns, but not in the classical kind of a way, having really unique shapes to it as well. Versace also having the lace on those slip dresses. We also see much more of it in Zimmermann, but Zimmermann is always very lacy, flowy, and feminine, so there is no surprises here. Erdem also having lace patches here and there. Chloe almost having cutout lace. Gucci once again having those slip dress kind of a lacy situation. So if you got a slip dress, take it out. Hermes on the other hand had laciness but cut out of leather. And Dion Lee, so much contrast between streetwear and these lacy material. I really like some of these looks, like they're a phenomenon, but others I'm like, oh, where am I gonna wear this to? You know what I mean? I wish that one had a longer bottom. Blue Marine had these lacy things with almost like a butterfly print. It's a little bit hard to see here, but in the black version you can totally see the butterflies being layered on top of each other or sometimes just by themselves. We also see Maison Margiela with some lace in here, as well as Y Project. I love lace. It's very feminine. It's really cool, especially when it's in contrast with something else. I would love to pair it with maybe something leather, something super masculine, but that's just me. Anyways, let's move on to sweats. So Balenciaga had this fight with IKEA. It was amazing. They had a skirt towel, and then IKEA just, they're so sharp. They're like, marketing team is like, hey, we have the same, but for $5. Anyway, so we see a lot of sweatpant material on the runways. It's not only made in sweatpants, it's also made with like dresses and skirts. So we're taking this really leisure material and putting it into more of a conceptualized garments. Here in Boss, we have a work appropriate hoodie. Dion Lee had some amazing examples of this. And we do see a lot of luxury outerwear. So I just wanted to have a little bit of that on here just to say, hey, make sure you pay attention to this. You know what I mean? All right, the next one up is the pleated. So I encapsulated anything that's draped, anything that's pleated, anything that was just a regular material, but then it was manipulated in order to create extra texture. Like for instance, here the sheer fabric is twisted and it has much more wrinkles to it. It's a little bit like, yeah, drapey. Here's Schiaparelli, pleats, like unnatural, yeah. You know what I mean. Balenciaga, lots of pleated long dresses. They're beautiful and they're very classical. Boss, here, you notice like this, the edge, I think it has something in there. Lots of items like this, like for instance here as well, we have a really flirted edge to the bottom of the dresses, of the skirts in Balmain, and they're coming from pleated to this ruffly ends love it. Really feminine, really cool looking. Pleated dresses are amazing, but they do create extra volume because they're so flowy. And we also see almost like a crinkle fabric, but in a longer, like a crepe. I have no idea how to pronounce that. Of fabrics where they are still very much like pleats, but not really. Hopefully you can understand what I'm talking about. I can't even understand myself. But anyways, lots of classical examples as well as something much more interesting. Here in Burberry, we have this really crazy manipulation, crepe, really crinkly fabrics themselves. J.W. Anderson had a few that went from his brand to Loewe, but in Loewe it was much more uplifted and done really, really well and elegant. Chloe also had it, Vivienne Westwood also in the bosom area. Dion Lee had a few for both men and women, having these wrinkles up. There are probably a better words for it than that. Draping in blue marine, having the swoosh neckline, or just very flowing draping dresses going down. Almost a mummy effect here. Just really, really cool. Tweed. All right, so tweed is whenever you have very texturized threads that make up the garment itself. And there's also different ways the tweeds are made depending on the company. Chanel, of course, being, I guess, the most popular one for their tweeds, and that's okay. But any brand can have a tweed jacket. Let's just, yeah, like Chanel does not have the rights to it alone. Anyways, so it's usually very texturized. So having blazers with this, we see older women wearing this because their wrinkles aren't as noticeable when they're wearing it. Basically, if you have imperfections in your skin, then having pleated jacket is not going to highlight those, just gonna look very natural with your complexion. If you are in that boat, here you go, this one is for you. I'm not always the biggest fan of it. We see it a lot done in, for instance, in Dior, men having full-on coats or suits in that tweed fabric. We also have it more casual in the same show. Anyways, let's move on to ruffles. A much more feminine trend for sure. And I feel like it's getting a little bit of a messy redo. We do see it being as like a heavy texturized for skirts, for instance, but here in Dolce Gabbana we have it only on the colors, and we do see a lot of this in different shows, so keep in mind. So Napoleon, what's that movie with the Napoleon guy? Anyways, so having that tuxedo type shirt underneath, like from the 80s, right? Having like ruffles around the buttons of a dress shirt, of a blouse as well. We see this in so many shows, like in Stella McCartney. We see this in Miu Miu, as well as, of course, Dolce Gabbana, what we've seen just now. Having such a dramatic number of shows, having that present, yeah, it's gonna be popular. Miu Miu also had that in their skirts, so maybe we will see much more people starting wearing it, as Miu Miu is like one of the top brands to watch out for, setting all of the trends for now, at least. Depending on what material is used to create that ruffle, we're gonna have different textures. So if it's really light, then it's going to be like super small and volume creating, right? If it's really stiff fabric, we just seen it in Schiaparelli, then it's gonna create this huge wave, and it's gonna be more sculptural and way more interesting, well, at least in my opinion, but I think a little bit more difficult to take care of for sure. We also seen this in Moschino. We've seen this in so many shows. Anyways, if you have this kind of a romantic style, then this is definitely for you. Is it for me? I have figured out along many years of me trying that, just not my cup of tea. I prefer much more masculine trends to these feminine ones. And that's all right. It's not for everybody, and I'm okay with it. Yeah, Blue Marine had a lot of it, and I think they were one of the trendsetters too, having like longer ruffle pieces, letting loose, and almost like a jellyfish. Anyways, next one up are knits. Of course, knits are going to be here. They're here all the time. Like, and that's one of the comments I get. These are like all the trends. Yeah, maybe, but at least they're organized. And if you'd like to have more inspiration to see how they were styled, you can just go to that chapter and watch it in entirety. Anyways, so we're seeing knit. We do see a lot of cable knits, like really tight knit dresses, bodycon dresses. Those, depending on the thickness of the knit, might either really be horrible in hiding anything or really good. For instance, Tom Ford here is like super thin, so you can see everything, like even like the belly button and like the ribs. But if it's a thicker knit, a much more like expensive knit, then it's going to smooth it out. It's not gonna create too much volume. On the other hand, there are really chunky knits as well, which will create a lot of volume. So think about where you're placing. It will create lots of warmth as well. So think about that as well. Knits have a kind of a medium texture to them, like when you're thinking about it. So they really don't play a big part in making your complexion look better or worse. I guess maybe a little bit better than worse if you have textured skin, but it is really easy to style and wear these kind of items. Just once again, think about your body. I can't really always talk about my body and how I do it because not everybody is my body shape, so I'm trying to get to everybody. Anyways, here we go in Loewe, very chunky knit. That is not even a sweater. That I have no idea how people are going to function. It doesn't have holes in it. It's a really long floor length. What's the word I'm looking for? Not a cape, something. It will come up to me one day. We also see not only knits, but also crochet, like for instance here, having it a little bit on a net side, so a little bit more breathable. That is completely up to you. Once again, we do see it more in a almost lace type items as well, which we're going to be seeing in a little bit quite soon. Like here, these little squares for in Moschino making up the skirt. Here go Roberta Cavalli having almost like a crochet inspired dresses and tops, but they're not crochet. Yeah, okay. Estelle McCartney here even having like little mirrors in there. Really boho, but like upscaled, really interesting. Vivienne Westwood brought a bridal look in this kind of texture. All right, yeah, a lot of knits, and yeah, all of them are different and all the bodies are different, so I can't even pinpoint which one to do. Y Project, these ones look great, and if you want to create a little bit more curves, then they're for you. All right, next one up are florals. We've seen florals, we've been bombarded with florals, and they're here mostly on clothing. You know how it all started with the flower on the neck? If you do have that floral necklace thing situation, choker, take that flower off and put it on a brooch. That's it. Now you can wear it again. So we see these flowers everywhere, being like a full dress of them, or maybe a deck piece on a dress. We see some kind of like lines of flowers, for instance, like a skirt being just at the bottom with flowers all over the place. They can be either like cutout flowers, or maybe they can be embroidered flowers. They can be almost anything, but mostly 3D flowers are a thing, like here in Prada for men. Yeah, looks really cool. I wonder if they're already there, or you need to buy them individually, all the flowers, and put them on. Undercover had some really weird floral things here. Okay, next one up would be beads. So beaded items, maybe they're like sewn on. Here in Ferragamo and in Schiaparelli, we see this heavy texture. Ulla Johnson here having fringe out of these beads. I don't know how that works. We also see it in Versace and Louis Vuitton having like little pearl accents. We also see beautiful dresses with different layers from Givenchy, even having a sheer dress thing on top of a beaded skirt, which is really cool, having lace in there as well. Mugler had these longer fringy type beads. Enough about beads, let's talk about combination of textures in the same garment. Peter Do had so many outfits, so many garments that were maybe half denim and half leather, or having like silk parts in there, or having some other parts in there. A lot of this also in Y project, so keep your eye out if you see an item that's been sewn out of like different materials in the same garment. It is one of the trends that we see. Like here, for instance, in Erdem, we have 3 different textures in one single gown. Here, the sweater in JW Anderson having that silk underwear. Here in Chloe, we have leather and more of a flowy skirt. We also see Boss having like half of the dress silky, half more muted and matte. Here are the examples that I was talking about. The Y project having the sleeves made out of this more of a satin material, and the rest made out of a more matte material. All right, you guys, so this completes the video. If you only watched this one, I make sure to check out the other one, because you need to see, I guess, the entire picture to understand it. Maybe if you didn't see texture that you were looking for in this one, it's probably going to be in the other one. I encourage you to go to your closet, pick out an item that is heavily textured, and go back to this video and see more examples of how it was paired on the runways, and see how you can rewear that item in a more fresher, more now way, I guess. If you want to check out how I try to take these inspirations from the runway and put together everyday outfits, I encourage you to check out my Instagram page, where I try to share my daily outfits. But other than that, I thank you very much for watching. I encourage you to subscribe if you're not already, like this video, maybe even put me down a little comment for the algorithm, so it will help me out immensely if you do that. And I would like to thank everybody who already does this for me. I really, really, really appreciate you, and without you guys, I wouldn't be here. Anyways, I hope you're having amazing winter, still winter, and yeah, stay classy. Bye.